All right, so we're back on the 2024. I think this is a 2024 Sport Chief. It's got a different color to it. It's more of a like a root beer flake pearl. Looks really nice. So, oh, this heat is hot. So let's go ahead and turn that on. Is that how you turn that on? So I believe this is a key fob, right? How do you turn this? Oh, there we go. So we turn that on. Let's make sure the camera is recording. Yeah, it's recording. So this is the Sport Chief 2024, I believe. $20,000 for the smoky quartz metallic pearl. ABS standard, 4-gallon tank. We are in neutral. Let's go ahead and start her up. I'm just surprised how long this TFT takes to just kind of start up. So as far as riding mode, I believe we're on standard mode. So the color's nice. I'm not a big fan of it. Like I said, it's more of a root beer pearl metal flake. Sport Chief 4-gallon tank, 6-speed, air-cooled V-twin. So I just got off of course, the 101, which is that one over there. Beautiful looking bike. Look at that. With a custom color, that red, the piggyback shocks, that inverted forks, they're also gold. Man, it's a really nice bike. I was really surprised at how well that bike handled, but we'll see what the big brother of the 101. So I believe that one's $17,000 to $18,000. This one for an additional $2,000. You get the full frame and the air-cooled V-twin. Yeah, I'm good. Okay. All right, so we're gonna get ready to go. As far as the controls, of course, this has more of a mid control compared to the 101. You have forward controls. I believe. Here, let's go. All right, so let's go. So I'm always going to be number 2. Not a big fan of being number 2 because it doesn't allow me to. Well, you know what? This guy likes to ride a little bit more aggressive. This lead, my calf keeps on, even though I'm flat-footed in the bike, but my calf keeps on hitting the exhaust, and it is hot. So onto the bike. So this, of course, is the answer from Indian when it comes to the Lowrider S. All right, Lowrider S also has inverted forks. We have dual disc brakes. It's more of a sporty version of the air-cooled V-twin. So this is what this is. You can really feel the mid controls compared to the 101. My knees are above the fuel tank, or they're really close to the tank. I'm 5'7", so if you're taller than 5'7", you are going to feel cramped up on the on this bike. All right, so on to, of course, the review. The lead rider has this music blasting, and I didn't want to get, of course, copyright strike or anything like that. But as far as the rider position on the bike, I'm not completely upright, and I'm not completely over the fuel tank. Well, I am leaning towards the front of the bike, but it's not too aggressive. It's a little bit of an upright feel, which is nice. You don't get that pressure on the shoulders and stuff like that. So, but like I said, you're not entirely upright, and so I wouldn't say it's a relaxed feel. It's a little bit more aggressive, but it is a Sport Chief. And you do have, like I said, you have the mid controls. So the triangle, for me as 5'7", as a rider that's 5'7", is very comfortable. I like the mid controls. The forward controls don't feel bad on the other bikes. They don't feel bad. I just prefer the mid controls. I do. But like I said, if you're probably closer to 5'11", you're probably going to start to feel cramped up on this bike. So, but I mean, that's not a big issue. You could always switch over to forward controls just to get yourself a little bit more comfortable. That's also something that other people have messaged me about on Instagram. the placement of the hip and the foot control, it could be uncomfortable after, you know, a long period of riding. I'm not sure why this thing is vibrating as it is. I don't know what that was, but I test rode this last year. As far as last year and this year, they're pretty much the same, guys. All right, they haven't really done much to it from what I feel and rode compared to the Bobber and the Sport Chief. It looks like they've really toned down the sport mode, but we'll try it out right now. We now have it in the sport mode. There is no indicator as far as, unless that's what that means, that S. Here, let's see, let's do standard. Well, that would also be S, right? So there is no indicator. Oh, there it is at the bottom. Sorry, guys. So I'm not an Indian content creator or whatever. I don't really do Indians. Oh wow, man, it always takes me by surprise how crazy the ride modes really change the feel of the bike. It really changes how the bike feels and rides. Man, this is just, it's nuts, guys. So this does have a 116, the Sport Chief. Whoa, whoa, whoa. As far as the other ones, I don't know if they're still doing the 111s, but this one feels a little bit more aggressive than the Scout, and it's probably because of all the torque that these air-cooled V-twins, you know, produce. These are torquey engines. You know, the horsepower and torque thing, it's just, I guess you got to address it in a different video, but I've always been more of a torque guy. All right, I like that low-end torque, and this is where it has it. With the Sport Chief, the air-cooled, the 116s, this has that low-end torque that I love. I absolutely love how torquey these bikes are. And having the ride modes, wow, this is, I don't know if they've tweaked it from last year, but this feels, wow, this feels just so much more responsive than last year. I don't know if they've retweaked it, because I really thought that the sport mode in last year's was tamed down, and I actually liked it. I just liked that that they've tamed it down on last year compared to the Bobbers, compared to the Chiefs in 2020 or 2021. So this one just feels just as responsive. That's just like the one thing that I don't like on the Indians when it comes to the ride modes. And you compare it to my ride modes on my Lowrider S. This one's like full go, even at like just 10% of the throttle. It just wants to take off. Now, it's nice, but having to, you know, ride with that the whole time, I just don't think it'd be fun, because you always have to be mindful of where your throttle positioning is when it's this extremely sensitive. On my fast throttle response, on my throttle modes, on my Lowrider S, you have that cushion. You have that cushion between 10 to 20% throttle. The bike still feels the same, so it doesn't get too nuts. Look at that, you see? Oh man, I don't know. I'm afraid to let go of the throttle. Holy crap! I think they have to tweak it. I believe they have to adjust this. I just don't see anybody riding this bike on sport mode all the time. So it's nice, all right? I'd say sport mode would be nice when you're already in it, but it's just too twitchy. It is. It's just too twitchy compared to the Harley-Davidson version of it, because I've also ridden the 2024 Harleys, and this thing needs a little bit of adjusting too. The clutch needs a little bit of adjusting. I think it's a little bit too loose. that's why I'm just having the clutch is not proper. I don't know, that's just me. I like having the friction zone closer to the grip. Right now, the way it's set up, I feel like it's loose, so I'm afraid of just releasing that clutch and dumping this thing on sport mode. And that's like the one issue that I have with the Indian riding modes. They're just way too sensitive. There's got to be a little bit of free play between, you know, start off. Like I said, on the Harley-Davidsons, that riding mode doesn't really kick in until you have like 20-30% throttle. So that's when the bike starts to really perform, and it removes the throttle lag. Throttle lag at 10 to 20% is, it's good. That's what I believe. It's good to kind of get out of the friction zone. You're not burning the clutch, or you know, you're not dumping all that torque and performance from a stop. But anyways, man, the bike is fun. All right, it's a Sport Chief, and that's exactly how it feels. All right, so brakes are pretty responsive. Dual disc brakes, of course. We're able to find neutral very easy, fairly easy. As far as the controls, I believe they're a little hideous. The Harley-Davidson controls have always been very beautiful. I've always been a fan of how the Harley controls look. Of course, they're also, you know, metal. This is all plastic. I like that metal feel of the Harleys. Just little minor stuff. I mean, this isn't game-changing stuff, but as far as the controls, I really do prefer the way the Harley-Davidson looks. But overall, the bike's great. I've mentioned it on last year's video that the fairing was impressive. Man, this exhaust is very hot. I don't know if it just sticks out too I don't know what's going on. I just feel it right on my calf, even kind of, you know, moving my foot, my placement on my foot a little bit away from the exhaust. I can still feel it. But you know, other than that, I think it's a great option. I really like what Indian has done with the Sport Chief. We'll talk right now because I can't really hear myself talk. Anyways, as I was saying, the styling of the bike is fantastic. I'm a big fan of the wheels. I'm not too sure about the quarter fairing, the new quarter fairing, but I still believe it looks decent. It doesn't look as good as what Harley has, but you know, compared to last year when I rode with this fairing, I was very impressed how well the fairing was doing with wind protection and the wind buffeting and all this other stuff. So you know, it looks aesthetically, I'm not a big fan of the fairing, but man, it performs just fine. All right, it probably even does better job than the Harley quarter fairing when it comes to wind buffeting and wind protection. It really does the job. So let's go ahead and look at the 101. yeah. So he's saying that you're really hunched forward on the bike, but his arms are pretty long. He doesn't look like he's that stretched out. But man, both of these bikes are beautiful. The 101 looks fantastic. Piggyback shocks. This also has piggyback shocks. That's something that I didn't mention on the video. You have piggyback shocks with the Sport Chief, so you have better performance. I mean, suspension. You have better suspension on the Sport Chief, of course. I guess it really comes down to what do you want when it comes to the Lowrider S and this. Like I said, you do have the riding modes, which is, you know, I believe it's a good selling point. You don't have riding modes on the Lowrider S as of yet. I believe they might be getting it in 2025. That's what I believe, because we got the 2024 riding modes on the touring models. Typically you see it the following year with the Harley-Davidson, so we might have riding modes next year, but who knows, you know, it's not confirmed. But you have riding modes, you have a lot of rider assists like you do on the On the Lowrider S this year, they do offer ABS standard again. That's something that they did the last 2 years. They removed the standard of ABS. There was a shortage with the Harley-Davidsons of ABS modules, but you know, man, as far as, of course, the suspension on the Lowrider S, you do have a monoshock. A lot of Dyna Bros don't like that Harley went with the monoshock. The Chief lineup, they still have the external shocks, the side-to-side shocks. So I guess it really depends on you. I mean, people say that the monoshock is a better suspension. I believe it is, but I mean, this has the piggyback shocks, so you know, it feels fantastic. You feel planted on the bike. Like I said, you have the inverted forks, you have the piggyback shocks on the rear. You just feel like you're planted, and this thing's just ready for performance. And we're only in standard mode, and as soon as you throw this thing in sport mode, this thing just wants to take off, guys. It's really responsive. It's just the only issue I have, like I said, is just the clutch feels a little loose, and it just being twitchy at just, I'm not even twisting it that much. I'm doing like 5% throttle position, and then this thing just wants to take off, and I just don't feel I don't feel safe on this bike. So I know it's a motorcycle, is not meant to be safe, but having the loose clutch and the sensitive throttle, it's not a good mixture. It's not good. All right, having a little bit, like, man, I don't know, I'm just saying, if the clutch was where I'd like it at, I'd be a little bit more happy having this thing in sport mode. But as of right now, with this clutch, I just don't want to be in sport mode. That's how twitchy and responsive the bike is in sport mode. So this is the 116. You have a 117 with the Harleys, but I mean, as far as performance and torque, they're pretty similar. They're very close, guys. You just have you have a few things on the Lowrider S that you don't get on this. I'd say just one thing, which is an oil cooler. I don't believe this has an oil cooler. So this does deactivate the rear cylinder to kind of, I mean, if you wanted to be in an eco mode or some sort, or try to cool down the engine or whatnot. But as far as you know, the Lowrider S and this, I believe that's like the only real big difference is the monoshock and the oil cooler that you have on the Lowrider S. And I'm already scraping. I'm not even tilting that much. I did a big old scrape. I probably lost a little bit of my boot on that one. Probably lost a little bit of my boot on that one. But anyways, the bike's fantastic. For some reason, this thing's shaking at 2,500 RPM and like 3,000 RPM. There's a small little window where the fairing and the front end really shakes. I don't remember feeling that last year when I test rode, so I don't know if something's loose. Maybe the fairing's a little loose or something, but something's rattling on this one. But anyways, thanks for tuning in to yet another video, guys. Stay tuned. I'm gonna try to get on maybe one more bike, and then we're gonna call it a day, because I do have to get back to work. I'm not supposed to be out here. So we'll probably jump on the bobber next. So stay tuned. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching yet another video. Life's a risk. Get out there and ride. Later.